are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
All right, everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks Show, episode 405, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay, and with me is Mark.
Hey, we are back. This is weird, Jay. We did the show last week, and we're doing a show again this week.
Oh, my God. This is almost like a weekly show.
Should we have technical problems? What's going on here?
Well, don't speak too soon.
Do you know who has technical problems, actually? Carmelo Anthony.
He does.
Carmelo started off 3 for 6 to start the game, and then went 2 for 12 thereafter.
How do you feel about that?
That was a fun game. That was a really good game. I mean, the Knicks have had. So the Knicks this week played the Lakers, the Nets, and the Thunder, and had 3 really compelling, just good games. First of all, the Knicks won all 3 games, which is great. But they also had 3 compelling games of basketball, right?
Yeah, they did. It's I'm surprised, to be honest, because Hardaway's been out, Porzingis missed the game, and they still look like a functional NBA team.
Porzingis basically missed 2 games because he missed more than half of the Net game, and he missed the entire Thunder game.
Yeah.
This seems fun. I like watching Carmelo Anthony get. He wasn't even stopping the ball that much on Oklahoma. Did you? When you're watching it, he took some shots he should have taken, but he wasn't even stopping the ball. What's wrong with the Thunder?
I have no idea. Like, on paper, this should not be happening.
Did you see they had the stat they put up? For guys who shoot the ball, average 15 or more shots per game. I guess there's 15 guys. There's whatever the number of people that actually do it. It's like around 15 guys that actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who the worst 3 guys in field goal percentage are?
No.
Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, and Paul George.
Wow.
Anthony is the 3rd worst. Paul George is the 2nd worst, and Westbrook is the worst player of the Chuckers, basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really crazy. It's Westbrook is shooting like 38% on the year.
Yeah, that's not good.
You found this. If Westbrook Westbrook has never been he's never been a high efficiency player. Like, he never shoots like 50% from the field, but he's never been this bad.
Right.
Paul George, I feel like before his injury was a lot better, field goal percentage wise, and he's gotten worse since. But this is just awful how bad the three of them have been together.
It's very strange.
You predicted them to be the 2nd best team in the West.
I did.
You talked me up. I probably had them 3rd or 4th, but like, you made me think like maybe they're really going to be really good. They're a disaster.
I can't argue with that. Really can't.
Let's spend the entire show talking about how Melo's a disaster. It's not even his. It's partly to blame, and him going 5 for 18 last night. That was a factor in the loss, no question.
Yeah.
But do you think there are lots of Knicks fans? Sorry, there are a lot of people out there. I mean, a lot of people that are glad that it's all over and done with. But there's a certain percentage of people out there who feel either Phil or Melo was wrong. Do you think any percentage of people out there still wishes the Knicks still had Melo or still had Phil?
Yeah, definitely.
You really think so?
Yeah.
Do you think there are people out there being like, the Knicks are playing pretty well this year, but it'd be better if they still had Melo, or they're better if they still had Phil?
Yep.
I hope not. You want to talk about the games?
Yeah, let's talk about the games.
Cool. The Laker game was a pretty good game. They all came down to the wire, really, also, which was great. The Laker game was an overtime game. So LeVar Ball. You know what the antidote to LeVar Ball is?
What's that?
Frenchie. He shut him down in the 4th quarter.
Don't you mean Lonzo Ball?
What did I say?
LeVar
God.
Ball?
Oh, God. Lonzo. It was weird seeing what wasn't at one point LeVar and Spike Lee like giving each other like high fives. They were like commenting to each other. Did you see that during the game?
Yeah, I don't think I like it.
That was kind of weird. I'm like, Spike, stay away. So what do you think of the game? What are your takeaways, Jay?
Takeaways. Oh, well, that game I thought was it was way closer than it should have been.
Yeah, and this also is way closer for Porzingis had one of those Porzingis super games, and the game was pretty close. I kept thinking they should put away the Lakers, and they were having trouble doing that.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks always seem to struggle against really bad teams.
But are the Lakers a really bad team?
They're pretty bad.
I feel like I guess as far as yeah, I feel like they're not horrible. They've gotten to the point where they're like, instead of bottom 5 team, now they're like 25 to 20 team.
Yeah, I mean they're still bad. They're not like Hawks level bad, but they're bad.
No, if they were Hawks level bad, we might have lost the game. But the Knicks played really well. I mean, even despite the fact that like KP, this was a game where I feel like there was no offense anywhere else. Like it was KP, and then no one else could score for a while.
Right, but that's the good thing about having a guy like KP.
Yes. But this was marking the return of like Ntilikina played great. This game and the Nets game, he played great. This is the guy. Like he was aggressive. He was shooting 3. I think he had 3 threes in the Laker game.
Yeah, and oh yeah, sorry, I was just.
Are you Jay? Jay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you asleep right now?
I was just shocked because I realized that the Knicks played an entire week between shows without losing a game.
Yeah, it was the game you expected to lose, the Thunder game, they won that game also. Without KP. I am shocked. The team is moving the ball. They're doing little things on defense. They're hustling. It was a great freaking week.
So before we get to the Thunder game, I guess, do you have anything else to say about the Lakers game?
Apparently you don't. I don't understand. You're like, duh. Do you have anything to add for any of these games? This or the next game? You want to talk about it? You want to talk about Beasley playing Beasley played the entire fourth quarter, basically, and the overtime.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to... I wanted to talk more about that during the Thunder game because he went off in the Thunder game, but...
This is the week of Beasley.
Yeah, has your hatred for Beasley subsided a little bit?
I mean, the thing is, everyone I've talked to this week, we're talking about Beasley, it's like, you either love Beasley or hate, not like an overall, but like at a given time, either you're loving what Beasley's doing or you're absolutely hating him. There's no in between. Either he's looking like that number 2 draft pick, the number 2 guy that went number 2 overall, who's like, wow, this guy could be an all-star, or he's like, why don't you give a crap about being on the NBA floor?
Right.
Like there's no in between. He's such a frustrating yet like. I mean, you can understand why teams keep giving him chances, and I like a lot what he's doing. But like, what do you do about a Beasley?
What can you do? He's a monster.
I mean, I feel like you have to give him he still's got to get like a shorter leash.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys where if he's on, you keep him out there, and if he's not, then you don't.
Because even in the Thunder game, he was doing things that were driving you a little crazy. But obviously he was really. You know what? Also, Beasley is. He basically outplayed. Not only obviously he outplayed Melo in that game, but basically I saw a stat about him when he starts. His starting numbers are better than Melo's this year.
Well, I mean, Melo is averaging a career low in every single category.
I mean, Michael Beasley, journeyman, is shooting. He's 51. He's almost 52% from the field. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts.
I mean, Beasley destroys you in the other. His defense hasn't been that horrible either. It's weird because when Beasley seems focused, his defense isn't that bad. But then other times you're like, are you even paying attention?
Right. Yeah, he is. I don't know. I guess he's a head case, and when he's focused, he's really good, and you just got to closely monitor when that is.
I don't know. Do you think he's a head case? I don't even really know.
I kind of think he is. There was that other game we talked about a week or two ago where he scored like 20 something in the first half and then just decided to not even get cross half court in the second half. And
It's unfathomable, like how he, like there's so many plays where he'll do a couple fouls in a row. You're like, what the hell are you doing? And he'll be confused by the fouls. He'll be like, ref, I didn't know I was allowed to hit the guy like that.
Right.
I don't even understand. But then other times he like the way he goes to the basket. You're like, oh, that's why didn't Melo do that all these years when he was here?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Howard Beasley.
I don't even know if you want him back on the team. Like next year, would you even sign him to you wouldn't give him a long-term deal.
No.
Maybe another 1-year deal. I don't even know. He's going to be 30 next year. I don't know if he's part of the team for the future or not. I'm going to ride for a certain point. I think last episode I asked for him to be sent to Siberia on a one-way ticket. I'm okay with him showing up to the NBA games now.
That was a quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround. I guess I owe him a bit of. Well, actually, maybe I was so harsh on him last week. That's why he stepped up.
This sounds like a Beasley apology episode.
Are you going to do a Lance Thomas one?
Never.
By the way, so Robert Covington, why aren't you giving more crap about him?
He decided to focus more on steals and assists, which is harder to brag about.
Really?
Yeah.
What you know who had a worse shooting night than Melo?
Mm-hmm.
4 for 21, Robert Covington. Did that help your fantasy team?
Well, not so much the 4 for 21. No.
No, that wasn't helpful.
I mean, he got 10 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, which
Yeah,
Melo did not do.
4 for 21. That must have been really helpful. 3 for 15 from 3. I was hoping you'd brag about that this week. That's all. I was waiting for that.
I'm losing 8-1 this week in fantasy.
Oh, really? Maybe Robert Covington's not helping you.
Well, it also didn't help that Fournier and Whiteside got injured, and my team is destroyed.
The curse of Jay's team.
My office mate is so paranoid because I'm telling him about this, and I have Bradley Beal, and he's from Washington, so he's from DC.
Oh God!
So he's like, "Oh my God, if Beal gets injured, it's all your fault."
You're like, I can't believe that freak accident happened, and Beal has no more legs.
Yeah.
Yep, Jay's team. I want also during the Thunder game. I guess I'm bouncing around obviously a little bit. Do you remember in the fourth quarter? The game was like 7 or 8 minutes to go in the game, and Kyle the flagrant foul that was called on Kyle Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? So Kyle Quinn gets the there's the Thunder. I think Kyle Quinn got the rebound. He's clearing out. Paul George gets his face as close to Kyle Quinn's face could be without actually kissing him, and so Kyle Quinn moves his arm, like elbow, hits Paul George in the face, and they call a flagrant foul. I have to say, I thought that was the most ridiculous foul possible.
Yeah, I don't agree with the majority of flagrant fouls that get called.
But I don't think that should be a foul. You have to give a guy a little bit of space.
Yeah.
If you're going to put your face next to their face and you get hit inadvertently, that's on you. If anything, it's a foul on Paul George for getting his head in the way of that guy's elbow.
Yeah, I agree.
The flagrant foul is also ridiculous. Like you have to call flagrant when guys really hit the guys on purpose, not this because I feel like that could have been very much a turning point. Then there was a BS foul on Ntilikina right after that, where Ntilikina basically had all ball. They called the foul, and basically Thunder pulled it within like 2 points from there. And the Knicks luckily got back up and won the game, but that could have easily been the difference in the game.
Yeah, you don't want to lose a game through a turning point like that. Yes.
But you want to talk about the net game?
Yeah, let's talk about the net game.
This is such a fun week. I had such a good time. Because it's great when the Knicks play games. I mean, I love blowouts, but I love when they play a compelling game where they end up winning. At the end of the game, like in the fourth quarter, you're like, oh my God, oh wait, yes, they won.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's been fun games too, which is just an extra blessing.
Ntilikina had 8 assists in the net game. First of all, the Thunder game, he had, I don't know why he got like 3 or 4 fouls in the span of 12 seconds in the Thunder game. But at least the Laker game and the net game, you were kind of, this was what you're like, this is the kind of growth you want to see from Ntilikina. Attacking the basket, like finding guys with great passes, shooting from three.
Yeah, it seems like our biggest criticism was that he doesn't focus on offense at all, and he looks like he's looking for a shot more now.
Yeah. And also his passes, he's not staring at the guy prior to the pass. So it's like not as obvious, which is helpful.
Yeah.
And there were so many, he got 8 assists in that game, but I felt like there were so many, he could have had 12 or 13 assists. There were a couple passes where like the other guy just screwed up the play. Like he was doing a great job of leading guys, just getting guys in the right position when they got the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to apologize to Ron Baker also?
Was I that mean to Ron Baker?
You have him on your, like, you put him so low in your power rankings this week.
I did.
Ron Baker has looked like a very, he's worth his $4 million, he looks like.
Yeah, next week he's going to be a lot higher.
I mean, he played solid defense. Do you ever look at the Twitter page, New York Knicks Film School?
Yeah, they do some really good videos.
They do some really good videos. They did a video, basically Ron Baker, all the positives he does on the court, and you're watching that video being like, I love Ron Baker. He does the little things. He can hit some shots. By the way, in the Thunder game, I think he thought he was Stephen Curry. He shot a couple of threes from really far away.
He was so good in the Thunder game, he basically took most of Frank's minutes.
Well, Frank also had foul trouble, but yeah. It was a fun week.
Yeah. Before we go back to the Thunder game, let's call our superfan.
Okay. Welcome our superfan, Alejandro.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey guys.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Perfect. There's no better way to start 10 minutes of with the superfan with technical difficulties because that's our show.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the way I wanted to start it off.
Yes. I'm gonna start the clock. Alejandro, starting now. Tell me, how long have you been a Knicks fan for?
Well, I'm 33 years old, so for 33 years.
So coming out of the womb, you're like, Mom,
yeah.
get me to the Knicks game.
Exactly. I think the doctor was a Knicks fan.
Oh.
So just from the get-go.
You're like, Mom, that was a foul. He hit me in the butt.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, are you loving the season so far?
I'm loving the season. I'm loving the improvement from everyone. Porzingis pretty much averaging, 30 points per game in his third year. Loving Courtney Lee, the Timmy Hardaway signing, which was really good. He's been productive. I guess we didn't see that when he signed the contract, but it's paying off now. Mike Beasley, everyone's just doing great. Frank Ntilikina is just doing work defensively and is improving little by little. I'm loving everything about it. But my point is what's the point of all this? What's the point of playing good and we're not really working towards anything? I'm kind of the more of get a higher draft pick, build the core, add to the core, and then work our way in the future. But I'm really liking what I'm saying. It's just what's the point?
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. So your idea, your thought is you need Philly's got Ben Simmons. You need a guy like that. You just need another star in this team. If we tank a little bit longer, we get we could hopefully get a small forward that's an all-star and then build the team from there.
Yeah, and I know there's a couple of good guys. Michael Porter, that kid from Kentucky. We need Miles Bridges. There's good small forwards out there coming in the draft. So if we can grab one of those guys with the pick, I'd say we were pretty good. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of pulling for. We're winning games. Everything's looking good. But I want a higher draft pick to add to or we have a better team in the future. Yeah,
I mean the question really is: you look at the team. What's the path forward? So where is this team going in the next couple of years?
Exactly.
Porzingis a couple of years from now, all-star level player?
Oh yeah, dude, Porzingis, the best guy out there.
What about, so let's just see what we have here in this team. Do you think Frankie can get to the point where he could be an all-star? I mean,
definitely. I think the kid has tons of potential. It's just developed. He's 19 years old. He's super young. He's already shown a huge impact for us defensively. I think we improved from the late 20s to top 8 in defense when he's on the court with us.
Yeah.
So defensively, the kid's phenomenal. He's a good facilitator, and he's only 19 years old. So there's plenty of room. I feel like the kid's going to be great. I feel like we just have to be patient. I think they're doing a great job. Hornacek and all of them, they're bringing him slowly. They're doing the right thing, and I feel like that kid's going to be great for us in the future.
Timmy Hardaway, when healthy, do you think can he be a borderline all-star talent?
Well, if he puts up those games like he did the other day, what was it, like 30, 40 points or whatever?
Right.
But I don't see it happening on a consistent basis. I feel like he's a very productive player, but all-star.
Okay. So you have
that's wishful thinking.
That's fine. So you look at this team a couple years from now, you'll have KP. Say 3 years from now, KP's really entering his prime. He'll be like 25 years old. You have Ntilikina, 22, getting better, getting to that point where like he's going to be on the verge of an all-star level talent. Timmy, very good player, not all-star, but a very good player, inconsistent. Those are 3 solid building blocks you have there.
Yeah, solid, but I don't think it can.
Like, how do you get to the Golden State Warrior level? It's really the question.
How do you get there? And that's building through the draft. That's what they did, and I feel like we should do the exact same. Philadelphia's pretty much at the same position where they've accumulated tons of draft picks, and look what they got right now. They have an awesome young core of Ben Simmons, Fultz when he gets back and healthy. That kid's going to be a difference maker. Embiid, you got Covington, you got all these people. That's kind of like the route that I want to go towards. Build through the draft, build the core, and then.
Well, here's the question: How do you do that? In the sense of the Philly had a situation where the guys like just wouldn't play for like Embiid didn't play for 2 years. You had Ben Simmons missed a whole year. Guys were not healthy, and you had most of the team was just a bunch of D-League scrubs. The Knicks have some legitimate NBA players. Everyone's playing like very competitive. Everyone's really trying, and a lot of young guys are playing pretty well. You have Ntilikina coming on. Like, how would you tank with this team?
That's the problem. You can't. We can't now. We're in a position where I don't think we can. I think the Knicks made a mistake by signing Timmy, by not trading all their role players. It's like the Knicks put themselves in a position to compete, and there's no real way I don't feel like there's a way that we can get a higher draft pick.
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks going forward, you're building a team that's going to have a solid base, a solid competitive base that they can be a playoff team, but a low-end playoff team. I don't know if they're going to be a high-end playoff team.
It's not going to take us to the promised land. That's the problem.
Right, and maybe from here, really, it's going to be getting lucky in the draft. I mean, if you look at Utah got Donovan Mitchell, who looks like, I don't know if that's going to be an all-star, but he looks very good. And a lot of very good. Sorry, go on.
And people were clanning the Donovan. Remember when Phil Jackson was actually wanting to pick Donovan Mitchell from the draft?
Yeah.
Yeah, tons of people were talking crap about that. I never got that.
But the thing is, you never know. Like Klay Thompson, who's a key member of most of the Golden State squad. You got Curry won like number 7. Klay Thompson won number 11. What's his name? Draymond Green.
Second round.
Was second round. You never like. Ideally, obviously, it makes the sense that you would get the best players in the top 5 in the draft.
Oh, definitely.
But at some point, you have to abandon that strategy. If you have a team that looks competitive, it's kind of like you only have a certain amount of time. Like Philly had a special situation. Mm-hmm. They made it extra easy for them to do it in some ways.
I trust Clarence Gaines. I think he's still working for the organization, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so any draft pick we get, I know it's going to be the right one. It's just I was hoping for like another top 10 pick, but yeah, anything we can get. I know that guy's making the right choice. He picked Dotson up, he picked Willie, he picked Frank, he picked Porzingis, so he has a pretty good track record of choosing picks. I was just hoping for another top 10, add another potential superstar, not just a role player.
I mean, the thing is, even with Golden State, and obviously the Knicks are not getting to Golden State level, that team struggled for a couple of years before really like breaking out. You have to just hope now, like, Gaines can help them add a couple really solid players, and the other guys on the team emerge. Like Dotson looks like a guy that could be very good. I wish he'd get some more playing time, but maybe he emerges at a better. As you don't necessarily need like 3 all-stars, and that'll just do it. You need a very strong team.
Definitely.
You can't just. I'm hoping now the NBA is going away from the let's try to build a super team. Like OKC is obviously like, well, maybe just putting these three guys together wasn't the best of ideas.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like maybe things will change the rest of the season, but it seems like you need to put the guys together that make sense to fit well together. The one thing I do like, yeah,
that team's not going to work out. Too many ball hogs. So yeah,
I would say I like the fact that the Knicks are building a culture. I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, where guys are coming in there and they're going to play. I feel like you're going to see this team. You're going to have to play hard, earn your minutes, and defense is very important as well.
The mindset's really positive. I love what Jeff's doing. I love everything that they're doing. They got even Ennis Cantor, who's like never been known to play defense, actually putting in work out there. The whole mindset's changed. Like the team's looking great. I love everything that I've seen. It's just what do we do from here on out? Like how do we get to the next level? And that's what I'm worried about.
Right. The path is not very clear from here. How are we going to get?
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a good answer for how to get from here to there.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, tanking, but we haven't put ourselves in a position to tank, you know. So it's like I guess it's just smart drafting. I guess whatever mid-round, first-round pick we get, make sure that one's gold, and whatever second-round picks we get from there, make sure those are good too, and just hope for the best.
What do you think of So who are the keepers in the team? Who are the guys that aren't signed for next year? Who's a keeper? Like, do you think McDermott's a keeper? Do you hope Cantor opts in? What do you think about some of these guys?
Yeah, McDermott, if he could come for cheap, yeah, why not? Beasley's another person that you got to see because I think he signed a 1-year contract with us, right?
Year deal, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to pick between Bees and McDermott. I take Beasley, but both of them would probably want tons of cash. Cantor, I've been loving Cantor, but the problem is that we haven't been able to develop Hernan Gomez, and that's a guy that we want to develop. So if he walks, he walks. You know,
I think he's gonna opt in. I don't think he's gonna get that money on the free agency market. I think he's gonna probably opt in. You don't think?
I don't think so. Everybody wants to get long-term stability, long-term. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna opt out and just get maybe like a 4 or 5 year contract, maybe decent money. I don't know. But keepers. I do love Cantor, but Willie's not developing. I do love Beasley, but that guy's gonna leave just like Derek Williams left a couple of years ago. McDermott, if we can get it from cheap, that's great. Man, Courtney Lee, man, that dude's been doing work. He's been doing great.
So as far as tanking, people have said Courtney Lee, we should trade him for see what we can get for him. Would you trade Courtney Lee?
I would, even though I'd miss him. I'd trade him and the cock for like maybe a first-round pick. But
how high a first-round pick are you gonna get from?
Well, if you package the two together, I'm not sure how. Maybe a mid-rounder if we're lucky enough. Maybe a late first-rounder.
I don't know. I don't know if I trade them for a late first-rounder.
How old is Courtney? Courtney's like what, 32?
Courtney's 32. He's having the best season of his career, and he's I think he's a good veteran for the guys to learn from.
Yeah, just trade him to a contender, somebody that needs a good veteran. Maybe you can get a good solid first round pick out of it.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point. Okay, so your time is just about up here. Tell us what's your prediction for the end of the season. How many wins you're going to get? Are they going to go to the playoffs?
I feel like we'll make the playoffs. I barely squeak in. 8th spot, 7th spot.
Yeah.
Maybe surprise in the first round because I feel like this team can compete against a lot of teams. We just showed it yesterday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We can compete against anybody. Just tons of good role players. I feel like the season's going to be really positive. But like I said before, where do we go from here on out? That's all.
That's the $1 million question.
Yep. Yeah. But I feel like everything's great. I've loved what I've seen this year. I'm living in California, so I'm repping the Knicks every day.
Awesome.
Yeah, just and I've been listening to your podcast for a long time. It's nice talking to you guys, and just keep doing what you're doing. And yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it,
all right, man.
Okay.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, just the next podcast.
Jay, we still recording?
Yes, we're still recording.
Whoa.
Another good call?
Yeah. Another good call. That was a good. It is a good question. Where do the Knicks go from here? How do you see them building from here?
It's going to be really tough. They're capped out. They're not going to have that good of a draft pick now. I think you said it. They're going to have to get lucky in the draft.
I mean, I think the capped out thing is a positive because I feel like this team is not we can't just add a big time player next year and suddenly expect to make the next leap anyway. You kind of would almost want to wait a couple of years before adding a big time player. Wait till KP's coming into his own. Wait till Frank's a little better, and then add like a solid piece.
Well, they're going to have to stop making mistakes in free agency.
Well, what mistakes have they made, Jay? Tell me. Recently, I don't remember any mistakes.
Touche.
No, not even touche. I'm not even kidding, sarcastically. This summer, what were the mistakes they made?
I mean, you're talking about one off season as like.
Jay, I don't remember any other offseason. Jay, this is a whole new team. This is I guess like there's like BCAC. This is AJ after Jackson.
Everything's different now.
Everything's different now. There's no triangle. We play in a circle. Realistically, Timmy Hardaway, 25. It's a solid signing. You have to admit that at this point. Like, I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens with his injury and so forth. But like, that's the solid signing.
I got to tell you, I am super nervous about Porzingis.
I know.
He's just always injured. It's
only been 3 straight years.
right. It's only been all of the years.
Yeah. It's not that he's been missed whole seasons, but he's definitely missed more games than you'd like.
Yeah.
I feel like that's his career is going to be. It's going to be like where Shaq stayed healthy for a good portion of time. At some point, Shaq started playing 60 games a year.
Actually, I looked at Shaq's stats. He missed 60 games a year, like even during the Lakers three-peat. I mean, he missed 20 games a year during the Lakers three-peat.
I think KP's just going to be a guy that's going to miss 20 games a year. I think there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. I think you're going to have to, like, this is the good and the bad. Like, to get KP playing and, like, his level, hopefully it's not 20 games, but he's going to miss at least 10 to 15 games.
Well, if he's going to miss 20 games, he's going to have to be as dominant as Shaq.
Yes, well, that would be pretty. If he got to be a dominant as Shaq, we're going to the finals. But you have to have guys around him that'll pick it up when he like. This was a really good sign. Also, the Knicks have won games when he wasn't. They beat the Thunder without him, and they beat the Nets basically without him.
Yeah, I mean, I was super surprised that they were able to do what they did against the Thunder. That is so reassuring. Courtney Lee has been playing off his ass.
I have to say, the more I've thought about it, like people talk about trading Courtney Lee, I just don't think it makes sense. I mean, outside of getting lucky with that draft pick, you're probably not going to get the most you're going to get from him is a pick 20 to 30 because draft picks are valued so high. You're not going to get I don't think you're going to get anything under 20 in the draft, right? Do you disagree?
No, I don't think you will.
So you're going to get a late first round pick. Is a late first round pick really worth trading Courtney Lee?
I don't think so.
He's on a good contract. You got him for the next 2 years. He's a good veteran presence. He plays hard. He's a guy you want our younger players learning from.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point there is something to be said for having guys that the younger players will learn from. Like, I think the one thing, I mean, Philly's playing well, and Philly had the whole tanking system, but it probably would help them to have some good veteran presence there to like, and I guess they have some veterans now.
Yeah, I mean, they got Redick.
Yeah, but having guys for them to learn from, I think, is a huge deal. Because guys can come in the league, but you look at a Michael Beasley, and he probably, I mean, obviously his career's been a bit of a disaster, but like if he probably had a good veteran presence to begin with, it probably would have helped him coming into the league.
Didn't he have Dwayne Wade?
Yes. I was trying to remember. Yeah.
If only he had like a Hall of Famer to.
I don't know. I keep thinking about the. You remember we both read Chauncey Billups did a piece on his career. He wrote up like what like happened in his career, and he wrote basically like how he basically was not floundering, but wasn't playing up to his potential until he got who was the player that he that like led him. I forget who it was, but it was basically another point guard who was a veteran. Kind of, he started really like learning from him. It was like he was like a journeyman, and then he kind of like it clicked with him, and he became an all-star.
It was in Detroit, right?
Yeah, was it? No, I think it was when he was on Minnesota. Am I crazy? Hang on, no, it was I forget because Billups bounced around a little bit before he got to Detroit.
Yeah, I think he was with the Celtics and then the Timberwolves.
He was with Minnesota for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he was in Minnesota, the names escape me, but they had a veteran point guard, I think, who was really good, got injured and had injury issues, but would have been like a good player in the NBA. And he learned a lot from watching that guy. He was saying how like he really learned about distributing the basketball and making sure like you're the point guard, your number one job on the floor on the offense is to set your other guys, set the other guys up. Mm-hmm. And like he really didn't understand that until he like kind of saw it firsthand.
I mean, it's some crazy wisdom there. Like, you're the point guard. Your job is to be a point guard.
I think he probably explained it better in the article, jackass. And
He's like, oh,
whatever.
I never even thought of that.
Well, so many guys come to the league. Michael Beasley, hey, don't take half the plays off. Try to pretend you're hustling at all plays. So
Right.
many guys come to the league. You're like, hey, when they're trying to score, that's just as important as when you score.
I guess it's hard when these players are so much better than the average high school player.
Yeah,
Like,
feel
I can't imagine if I was, like, I got my ass handed to me in high school, and I wasn't playing with anybody. Like, you can imagine playing against Chauncey Billups in high school.
I mean, it's almost the equivalent of like in high school, you somehow end up playing against just toddlers in basketball, and
Yeah.
you're just like jumping up and blocking and being like, I just average 70 points, 70 rebounds a game. I am a god. And then you go to another league where like everyone's just as good, if not better than you, and you're like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
I used to be able to just like eat Taco Bell and show up to the game and be like, I'm ready. And now I have to like put insane work if I want
Maybe
to,
that
like,
was my problem, because that's what I did.
Jay's like, wait, I don't understand. What's the joke there? Yeah, I had my 2 tacos and I was like, ready for game time.
2 tacos, like 10.
Oh, Taco Bell. The team was fun. I don't know. I have to say, what's the point of it? I've had such miserable experience watching the Knicks the last couple of years that just like if the entire purpose of what the Knicks are doing right now is just to make the season entertaining, that's a long way for me.
It's like a goodwill season.
Yeah, everyone just feels better about this now.
There's no embarrassment. The team is, they're not going to win a championship, but they're a functional team that will probably make the playoffs. It's just it's a goodwill team.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they missed the playoffs, they got the 9th seed, but either if they win 38, 39 games, you're like, it was a fun season.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, and I also, what drives me crazy is that you'll go on. This is my point about like the Phil Jackson thing. You'll go on Twitter, and there's always someone like commenting, going, "Well, Phil drafted Ntilikina. Phil drafted KP. We should be thanking Phil." Come on, does anyone think like Phil? Like how are you like still talking about Phil? Let's just move on. Let's just like forget about all this horrible dark past we've had for the last 3 years.
Let's do some questions. We're going to start running long.
Okay, you got emails?
I probably do. Yeah.
You didn't pull up your emails.
I might have.
Okay, go for
I
it.
don't-
Why don't you have it?
Well,
Just do the emails.
The problem is we have so many people asking to come on that I have them all mixed up with the regular emails.
Okay, Jay.
Hey guys, or hey writes, hey guys, who do you think is hotter, Jeff's daughter or that new SNY girl? Have you seen the new SNY girl?
I did. I saw this question and I looked her up.
Taylor Rooks.
She is very hot, but I'm gonna go with the Hornacek's daughters.
Yeah,
I
gotta go with Hornacek's daughter.
I mean, she is like. I'm just gonna pause now and think about her.
Let's have a
Never
moment of
come back.
silence
Never
for
come back
how
to the
hot
show. Did you? By the way, it's. I think Peter's email went to the. Is this the NY podcast address or there's 2 addresses, right?
Yeah.
Do you have Peter's email there?
No.
I don't know why I don't see it. It went to nydixpodcast@gmail. Okay, forget it. Thought you guys might enjoy the below. Great game yesterday. Nice win. Beasley, greatest hashtag greatest of all time. And I guess it must be on Instagram or I don't know. It says it said the day has come. Emotions will be heavy. He sacrificed it all for us. It'll be hard to root against him. Former Knicks legend and icon returns to MSG tonight. Welcome back, Raymond Felton. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I forgot he was even on the Thunder.
Yeah. I forgot he was still in the NBA. He looks okay. I mean, whatever. I'm glad he's yeah.
Jorge writes, do you guys remember Jack being good on other teams? Also, how is our best defensive guard a rookie and an ice cream man? I think I have a vague recollection of him being good on Golden State for a minute.
He was good on Golden State for a little bit. When he came to the Nets, he was okay at first before he got injured. Jack's always been a solid He's always been a solid player. I'm liking I'm loving everything I'm seeing from Jack right now.
Yeah.
I still like the idea of him starting and Ntilikina earning his minutes every night.
Yeah.
And Jack's looked pretty good. I mean, like, I'm surprised because, I mean, we all kind of thought Sessions would be the point guard. And now I just don't know why you don't cut Sessions and just try someone else out.
Yeah, just try some random D-League guys out.
Yeah, I mean, not that. I mean, they have trouble fighting for playing time in this team, but I still feel like I don't know what. I guess Sessions is insurance, but Sessions has not looked very good when he's played.
Yeah.
It's
Alan
been
writes,
surprised,
"Hey guys,
yeah.
good to see Jay doing a podcast today, given he's an Ethereum millionaire. If you want to
By
hear
the way,
about,
Jay, I'm finally in on Ethereum, and the price starts going up today. I'm feeling all good, and now it went back down, Jay. What's the problem? I don't like that, Jay.
we will be bringing our other podcast, The Brink of Sanity, back soon. So stay tuned for Crypto Talk on Brink of Sanity podcast, brinkofsanityshow.com.
Jay has been wheeling and dealing in the crypto world to like some insane level. Jay, at some point maybe you'll just be able to fund the whole show, right? Like with your millions.
I might.
Like,
I mean, not making millions yet, but I'm doing all right.
Okay, cool.
He says, I don't think the Knicks will fall back like previous seasons. They have a positive net rating this season. The Knicks record last 3 years, and then their O rating and D rating. This year, he wrote this when they were 15 and 13.
Yeah.
And their rating was 109 and 108, which is positive. Last year, 15 and 13, they were 108 and 111, which means their record was better than they probably should have been. And in 15-16, they were 14 and 14 with a 104 and 105. So this is the first time they've been at or above 500 this late in the season and had a positive offensive and defensive rating.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He wrote, this is based on coaching and his staff. They seem to get players playing at least average level defense. Also, how great has it been seeing Frank being more aggressive with his shot and attacking the basket.
Yeah.
Also, Lee has been brilliant the past couple games. I was discussing with my friend who is a Bucks fan, asking if the Knicks would trade him around draft night and what do you think they could get for him. We literally just talked about that. Next season, the Knicks go get a young small forward who could play at 4 during small ball. Also, Hornacek has been playing more small ball at end of games, KP at 5, Lance or Bees at the 4. I think Hornacek's been doing a very good job.
Yeah. I mean, I have complaints. I still think they could do a better job guarding the 3. I still think they could set themselves up and shoot more 3s, but I mean, you have to say that the effort they're giving is like...
Look at against the Thunder, the Knicks starting lineup was Beasley, Thomas, Cantor, Jack, and Lee. If I told you that at the beginning of the season, you would have said they would have lost by 57 points, right?
I would have said like you would need to like call the mercy rule.
With the bench being McDermott, O'Quinn, Ntilikina, and Baker.
Yeah, that's it's kind of shocking.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, that team should have got stomped. I think Hornacek's doing a great job.
Yeah, that is you know what the problem they're going to have is I'm looking at the charts for next year. Noah, of course, does not come off the books. That would be great. But Cantor has to opt in. I think he will at $18 million. You think he will? Or
I think he will.
I think because of his skill set, I don't think people are going to give him. I don't think people are giving him a 5-year, $100 million contract. So I feel like he might just take more money from the Knicks and then see what he can do from there.
Yeah.
But is Ron Baker his option for next year? I guess so. I guess Ron Baker actually it's his option, not the Knicks' option for next year.
Cool.
And if obviously Ron Baker's going to opt in because Kyle O'Quinn, it's a $4 million option for him. He's not going to opt in.
He might be gone.
They have bird rights, so they can go, and I think with bird rights they can go above the cap. How much do you think? I just don't know how much he's going to get in the free agency market. I feel like he's going to get some decent money.
Yeah, and I feel like the Knicks wouldn't go over the cap when they could say, "Well, we'll just play Hernan Gomez."
I guess, but like, here's the thing: like, do you think Hernan Gomez? Do they think Hernan Gomez is going to like? Does Hernan Gomez give you what Kyle Quinn gives you?
No, I think it's a downgrade, but I mean, I guess it's up to management if they think it's worth paying extra money and tax to have whatever O'Quinn gives you over Hernangomez.
Well, as far as tax, they better pay whatever they have to in tax, because I goddamn will kill Dolan if he doesn't pay if he's not paying the tax. I'm not actually threatening his life, but I was just getting so mad that the Knicks didn't make any move because of the tax implications. I feel like the team will spend money. It's just that they have to spend the money the right way. The thing is, do you want to give Kyle Quinn a 4-year, $40 million contract?
Probably not.
Yeah. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I mean, then if you don't have him on the team, you could do more KP at the 5. And if you're probably better off replacing Kyle Quinn with a good power forward / small forward.
Yep.
I hate to lose him though. Okay, go on. I was just looking at Jack. You might want to re-sign Jack. Beasley. It's going to be some tough ones on this team.
That is it for email nyknickspodcast@gmail.com or nyknickspodcast on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and patreon.com/nyknickspodcast. Help support the show for as little as $1 a month.
Yes.
Also on the NewYorkKnicksPodcast.com, you can find articles. We have some really kick-ass articles written by some of our listeners. I do the player power rankings every week. You can tell me how dumb I am on Facebook, like some other people have. And that's where you can get the last remaining Knicks podcast shirts.
Jay, as a crypto investor here, would you say what's a better investment? $1 in Bitcoin or $1 in Patreon money for the Knicks podcast?
Obviously, Knicks podcast.
Okay. Dan writes on Facebook, Frank's clutch play against the Lakers. You can see his improvement massively from the beginning of the season. A great sign. Yeah. Like Frank, he's been really good. I love his passing. Do you remember what's the last Knick player you feel like has had his level of passing skills?
Mark Jackson.
I was gonna say like Jason Kidd probably, and not saying he's as good as Jason Kidd, but I feel like the last couple of years, like Derrick Rose, his passing vision was not great. He's not like I don't know back in his MVP days, but on the Knicks, he wasn't passing the ball at all, basically, and he definitely was not an elite passer.
Knicks all-time single-game leader in assists, Chris Duhon.
Maybe was Felton a lead? I feel like Frank really has the vision where he really can find guys. He thinks it's a good job of like leading guys with passes, really getting them in good positions to make the baskets. And I feel like most guys, like Felton even when he was playing well for the Knicks, was he a really good passer?
He was okay.
I feel like Frank has elite vision. I'm very excited. Francisco writes, "Pray to the basketball gods." Jay, you want to pray to the basketball gods?
Do we have a? I think next week we'll pray if Porzingis is still out. How about that? I don't want to abuse our calling on the basketball gods privileges.
You don't want to pray and be like, "Let the knees be healthy," kind of thing. I'm scared for the knees. The basketball gods. What do I have to sacrifice? We've already sacrificed Jay's old computer. What else do we have to sacrifice?
Basketball gods. I will give you 5 Knicks podcast pens if you make Porzingis' knees healthy.
What's going on with the Knicks pens? Tell me about your guerrilla marketing.
I've really just been working on getting this show up again, so I haven't had time to figure out my guerrilla marketing plan.
From here, it's going to take off, right? The show's back up. You're going to be like, pens are going to be everywhere. I'm
not confident the audio is great today. People, let us know what the audio sounds like. I can't tell right now.
Okay, well, Julian writes, Noah, what do we do with him?
What do we do with him? There's nothing. I think what we're doing with him right now is what you do with him. You have him be a very expensive guy who wears suits. Yeah,
I mean, he can afford a different suit every night. Like, he's got the money, so we're giving him the money. So, or the Knicks are giving him the money. We make him wear Eddie Curry's jersey. I don't know.
I mean, the mistake is made. The damage is done. Right now, we're just mitigating the damages by not letting him suck on the court.
I am amazed that he's not. I feel like this will also, to some extent, this problem will solve itself in a bit. Like at some point, Kylo Quinn or Cantor will be hurt. I'm sorry, it probably will happen. They'll miss some stretch of like a couple weeks, and Noah will get a chance to prove himself.
And then when he doesn't, we could put this all to rest and stop playing him.
I don't mind him giving another chance if Kylo Quinn or Cantor are looking bad for a stretch, because we have him for the next 2 more years. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what to do. Like, it's one of the things. He's on the team, so like,
even though the Knicks are doing their best at pretending he's not.
I mean, it's weird. Also, they sent him that play that one game in Westchester, and he's like, "Okay, I'm ready now." They're like, "Okay, go back to the bench."
Well, maybe he looked like crap, and
he actually, I think his numbers were okay in Westchester. I didn't see the game, but it is funny. They're like, "Are you ready? You're in game shape." Yeah. Okay, cool. Just have fun, stay on the bench.
Just checking.
Is it funny, by the way, the Nets trade for Okafor and they're not playing him either?
Oh, I forgot to see. Yeah, they're not playing him. Okafor must be so mad.
Well, they said he needs to be in shape first before they could play him. So he's working on getting in shape.
How is he not in shape? If you would like, I have to prove myself on a new team, but I'm going to eat ring dings while I'm waiting.
I don't know, but he spent the first 2 months of the year on Philly with them not playing him, so maybe he didn't work as hard.
Well,
they said they play a running system. They want guys who are going to not get tired on the court, and they felt like he wasn't ready for that.
Well, that's all on him. That's 100% on him.
Well, Okafor said on the positive side, he said this is as great as the feeling I have from being drafted. He feels like I have a new lease on life. So at some point, the Nets will start playing him, I imagine, soon. But it is pretty funny that he wasn't playing the first couple games.
Yeah.
Paul writes, "Is it me or does Jack look exactly like Mr. Potato Head? And what accessories would you put on him?"
I would like a big, thick Woodson goatee.
Hoop earrings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Woodson goatee would look pretty good.
A big Groucho Marx mustache.
They say Jack is one of those players that everyone thinks he'll be a future very good coach in the NBA.
I mean, point guards typically make better coaches than other positions.
But people have been saying, in particular, he's a guy the way they talked about Jason Kidd. They talk about Jack as being a guy that really has a bright future in coaching. Maybe the Knicks should keep him for a couple of years and then make him a coach eventually.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Eric writes, "Is this the beginning of Porzinglas?" Thank you, Eric. Thanks for that nickname, Eric. That's really it's wonderful. I hope that catches on. It does. Oh my God. The non-contact injuries also. You're like, oh, good, non-contact injury. He'll never play again.
Right.
Because those are always sometimes the worst. That usually means he's torn his ACL or something.
Right.
When do you think he's returning?
I think he's going to miss one more game.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. The Knicks this week coming up, they got schedule. Bring the schedule up. They have coming up. Let me see what you think the record's going to be. They got Charlotte Monday night. They got Boston Thursday, Detroit Friday. This is a tough week.
2-1.
Who are they losing to?
Boston.
But Boston's a joke.
Oh yeah.
No, this is a tough week. Detroit's really good too.
Detroit has lost 7 out of their last 9 games.
Oh, I guess I haven't been paying attention. I
thought
they had
a good time to play Detroit.
Okay. In Charlotte, I feel like they should be beatable. That would be 2, and then they got Philly on Christmas, which is going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Then you could see an entire 48 minutes of Covington.
Yes, hopefully he goes 4 for 21 again. James writes, "What are the Knicks thinking about Courtney Lee and Kylo Quinn? I think Lee's value is at an all-time high, so we would be good to move him to shed salary, more Hardaway to shooting guard, and get a pick." Would you that's a reasonable thing to say? You move Hardaway to shooting guard,
right? But I mean, you move one of our better players for what kind of pick are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, are you going to get something that's going to be really worth? Like Lee, probably. How many good years do you think he has left in the NBA?
3?
Yeah, 3 or 4. I don't know. He's playing. He's having his best year. I know he's 32, but it makes you think like he's also a guy that doesn't. He doesn't give his body to the NBA either. He doesn't like destroy himself.
Right.
He does not like. He seems like a guy that like. I feel like why do you think Lee? Like, why do you think Lee hasn't been like a 20-point scorer earlier in his career?
Probably just the teams he was on. I mean, he made it to the finals with Orlando, and they had so much firepower. He like didn't really need to do that.
Yeah, I
And-
feel like
and
he's a
his-
guy. Yeah, then he went to where? Memphis.
Yeah, again, he's been on teams where either he was never like the focal point. He does his thing and he does it well.
Yeah, because I feel like though, like he's a guy that like you want him to play. You want him to be a greater part of the offense.
Well, if Porzingis and Hardaway injured, somebody's got to score. So Lee's taking that on.
Yeah. I have trouble, guy. I just wonder like the value you get out of him playing versus what you're going to get for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's always the theory of get as many draft picks as possible and see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, we said before, you never know, and we do got to get lucky. But at this point, like, how much better or worse are we going to be if we trade him? Like, I feel like our draft pick is pretty much going to be where it's going to be. We might, and if we're going to make the playoffs, we might as well have him.
I mean, if you're not going to re-sign Kyle Quinn, that makes more sense to try to trade him individually.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you get like a 25th pick in the draft, like a late first round pick for Kyle Quinn, that makes more sense than Courtney Lee to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Quinn's more expendable than Lee at this point.
Yeah, especially because I don't know if they're going to bring him back next year. It is a tough year because you don't really know their path forward, but it's a fun team. And the young players, they're playing well. I want to see Dotson get more minutes. Baker's finally getting some minutes. I like that. I like what Baker's doing. But I mean,
if you trade Lee, Dodson and Baker play more minutes.
That's true. That's true. But the team is also worse.
Yes.
And you get a higher draft pick. I don't know. It's just hard because the team is fun.
Yeah.
Evan writes, if you had to make decisions now, would you hurt the team's long-term flexibility to keep Cantor and McBuckets? And Josh wrote back, Cantor and McDermott fit the timeline, and are we playing great? I'd be building around them, Timmy and Frank, as well as KP.
I mean, so if you go all in with that lineup, like, what's your ceiling?
Yeah, that's the problem. I like everything Cantor's doing.
Yeah.
I'd rather. I hope he opts in because I'd rather just not make a decision on Cantor for another year.
Yeah.
McBuckets, I don't know. Like, it's also a decision. Like, if you have to talk about who you're going to keep, of these guys, McBuckets, Beasley, and Kyle Quinn. Those 3 guys. Who would you keep? Who would you keep? Or if you only keep one. Sorry, if you only keep one of them.
Probably McDermott, but it depends at what price.
I mean, of the 3, I think I put in. What order you put him in? You're going to keep
McDermott, O'Quinn, Beasley.
Okay, I mean, I kind of agree with that. Beasley, I have trouble seeing him on the team next year.
It's not that. I feel like it's almost like fool's gold when he's scoring 30. You're like,
yeah,
it's like when JR went nuts. You'd be like, oh, he could do this every game, but he won't.
Exactly. I feel like Beasley's always going to be a pro guy that you're going to hate and love. He's never going to turn into that player that's just good.
Well, we didn't even comment. I forget which game, but Beasley was like over 4 and fouled out in 10 minutes.
Oh, I think that was that the Laker game?
I mean, he does that sometimes.
Yeah, like
so
he
you
does.
Can't rely on a guy who could foul out in 10 minutes.
He got applause for that also.
Yeah, well.
But that was the net game then? I'm trying to figure out what game that was. Or maybe it was the Hawks game.
I think it was the Hawks game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He's just a guy who doesn't seem like I would take him for another 1-year deal, but I don't think I'd really want to commit to him.
No.
yeah, I think the path forward here is really tough. But I also think a lot of teams don't necessarily have seen, like, if you have LeBron James, well, there's your path forward. But for most teams, the path forward is not obvious.
Right.
Like Golden State, prior to like when Steph Curry was injured, his first couple of years years he was injured all the time. They didn't really see a path forward. They fired Mark Jackson because they weren't doing anything in the playoffs.
Well, Mark Jackson also didn't think Draymond Green was good.
Well, Mark Jackson probably had some. I'm glad he's not coaching here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like it was interesting that Mark Jackson got fired, and the team went from a decent team that was like a low playoff seed to like the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know if the path is going to be obvious. Like, what do you do? Like there's like I guess you just try to keep getting better and better with a young team.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make. I mean, it sounds weird coming from a Knicks fan, but you're going to have to make smart free agency decisions.
And smart draft picks, which probably are a little easier than the free agency decisions.
Which it should be the opposite, but this is the Knicks.
I mean, but it's also, what I do like is that we finally have the answer. Like, all these years, everyone's been like, well, just add one guy. The Knicks got Westbrook. They'd win it all. You're like, oh, okay, the Knicks basically got Westbrook and Thunder. And, like Melo is now with Westbrook, and the team sucks.
Yeah.
And nothing against Westbrook. It's just like you can't just add one guy and go, now we're going to be amazing.
But apparently you can't add two guys.
Yes, you can't add Paul. If the Knicks added Paul George and Westbrook, people would be like throwing a championship parade in October.
Yeah.
And the team sucked, people would be like losing their goddamn mind. Could you imagine if the Thunder's team was the Knicks right now?
It would be like, oh, we would be screaming the entire episode.
We would have the most angry episodes. All talk radio would be is like, what is the goddamn matter with the Knicks?
Yeah.
Like, how could they be this bad? Like, it would just never stop. Like, the New York media would absolutely love how good of a story that would be.
Yeah.
They'd be salivating at it. But it's like you have to build solid pieces and like, I don't know. The Celtics obviously look like they could be really good for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going to get Hayward back next season. They're already one of the better teams in the league.
How'd they build their team?
Mostly through the draft.
Mostly through the draft and, like, well, convincing, like, just robbing the Nets.
Yeah, but how'd they do that? By collecting draft picks.
No, they did that they robbed the Nets by having Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. But
that was a huge thing. I mean, traded those two guys. The Nets were like, have every draft pick we're going to have for the next 5 years.
But they got Pierce through the draft, and they traded one of their highest draft picks for Garnett. So,
yeah.
at the end of the day, it was through the draft.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So they had the talent. They had Al Jefferson, who they were able to package with the draft picks to get Kevin Garnett, and they were able to trade for Ray Allen. They turned the team. Yeah, I don't know. There's no like great answer. I mean, you can get lucky in the lottery. Maybe we'll get the 9th seed and then win the lottery.
Yeah. Is that it for Facebook?
Yeah, I've like a couple more. We're almost done. Nick writes, was picking up Courtney Lee for my fantasy team on Tuesday the acquisition of the year?
It's a pretty good pick.
Better than getting Robert Covington. Paul writes, how much better than Melo is Beasley? Who would you rather have right now? Carmelo Anthony or Michael Beasley on your team?
I mean, are we considering salary? Then it's Beasley, no question.
Yeah, if we're considering salary, it really is no question. Like Beasley's free, basically, and Carmelo Anthony is a giant chunk of money.
Yeah, who's averaging a career low in every single statistic.
And who will definitely be opting in next year.
Yeah.
At the same money. And if you're not considering the salary,
Beasley.
He's more efficient than Melo now. You know what? On the positive side, Beasley probably does try harder than Melo does in defense right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Beasley, if he's not playing well, you could just sit him and no one cares.
Right. That is also true.
Gilliam writes, now that we've seen this team a few games, and the different players and with different players injured, what is the total wins you think this team would make if everybody is healthy all season, everybody but KP healthy, everybody but Hardaway healthy, everybody but KP and Hardaway? So let's start with the first one. Everyone's healthy all season long, no injuries. What do you think?
44.
Okay, that seems reasonable. I was gonna say low 40s, 43. Yeah, it's fine. Everybody but KP healthy. It's pretty painful.
Yeah. We're down to like 34.
Yeah, that seems. I like that. Everybody but Hardaway.
So where it was right now before Porzingis got injured?
Yeah.
39.
Yeah. Everybody but KP and Hardaway. 28.
Yeah.
That's a lot of firepower to lose.
Yeah, I mean, let's not fool ourselves with the Thunder game. Like, this team would be absolutely terrible if it was like that for the season.
We're not getting 30 points a night from Michael Beasley.
No.
There's no Michael Beasley suddenly an all-star kind of thing. Like, that's a lot to lose, not having both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you could win without both of them, but, like, you're not going to beat that many teams.
Yeah.
Gilliam writes, but I have to say, with, like, if you had Hardaway healthy without missing KP for a night or two is, like, not as bad.
Right.
Oh, man, I'm missing. I can't believe Hardaway's injured and I'm missing him so much.
I know.
Gilliam writes, why is KP picking up regular Instagram girls when Bella Hadid was sitting in the first row in Madison Square Garden, as jaw-dropping as she was what pickup lines would you try if you were KP? First off, I don't know who Bella Hadid is. Do you know who she is? Wow. I just clicked on the link. Is he picking up? What's the deal with him picking up he's picking up girls on Instagram? What's the deal?
Yeah, there's like some hot girl on Instagram that he likes her posts and she likes his, and they're going back and forth.
Oh, good for them.
Do you need a pickup line if you're Porzingis? How about, hi, I'm Porzingis?
Do you want to see my horn? Do you want to see my unicorn horn?
Hi, I'm the best player on the Knicks. Like,
do you
really need anything else?
Yeah, what's like? Do you want to hear about how amazing I am at basketball?
I mean, even if he wasn't on the Knicks, he'd just be like, "Hi, I'm 7'3".
Yeah, you ever been with a guy who's 7'3"? Want to try it?
Right. He's in a good position.
Do you think if you're not an NBA player, like, well, first of all, I feel like if you're 7'3", every girl's going to believe you're a real NBA player because they've never watched basketball, and you're 7'3".
Yeah.
You could be like, I won the MVP last year. Really? Right. Yeah. My name's Michael Jordan. Really? I thought he was black. Nope. Yeah. What other lines? No, that was
if you're just tall and not in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works too.
That probably works. You're
because
7'3",
I went to a bar the other day with my friend who is 6'5".
Yeah.
And a girl went up and asked for his number basically because he was tall.
Really?
Yeah. She even said, like, my friend wants your number. She likes tall guys.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm staring at this picture of this girl. Who do you think of the Knicks pulls the best ass? Like, is it KP?
I don't know. KP might still be in that awkward phase.
Noah, I know, like, if I'm seeing pictures, like, he got some pretty damn hot girls. I wonder if the fact that he's, like now he's, like, a disaster in New York, does that hurt his game?
Maybe it helps because he's got more time to just troll for ass.
Yeah, that's true, too.
It's like, I'm not playing. I might as well just try and get laid.
I feel like Beasley would just probably blow it. I'm sure he pulls some. I don't know. I feel like everything in life he's pretty too casual with.
Beasley's married.
Never mind. He doesn't pull any ass. He's very faithful. If I assume his
wife. He did an
wife.
interview and he had his like fingernails polished, and people were like making fun of him, saying, "Why do you have your fingernails polished?" And he's like, "Oh, my daughter was doing her nails and she asked to do mine, so I said yes. So it sounds like he's a good dad.
Okay. Well, that's actually that. I give him mad props for that, actually.
Yeah.
So I would totally let my daughter do my fingernails.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's like a involved dad. Mad props. I can't try to find his personal life on here. He is. Well, I'm surprised Wikipedia doesn't have. Am I missing this?
I don't really care.
Well, now I'm interested, Jay. They've got everything on personal life. Or maybe they don't. Off the court issues. Whatever. I'm sure he has something. I've also now I see it as a sexual assault case involving Beasley, but it was dropped after no probable cause. Never mind. Yeah. So what did we learn today, Jay?
We learned that I think we had a record amount of positive episodes in a row. I mean, I think this is more positive episodes in a row than the 54-win season.
What was more fun season? Is this more fun? The thing is, we still aren't past the point of the year where like they collapse the last 2 years.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I feel like it's not going to happen. They're not going to collapse.
Yeah, we felt like that the last 2 seasons too.
They're about to go on the road. They're about to have a lot of road games.
Yeah, don't they have like 12 road games in January?
I mean, if you look at the Knicks, one thing that's really interesting or scary coming up, if we want to look at ominous signs, the Knicks right now, their home record is 14-5. That's great, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Their road record is 2-8.
That's not good.
So they played 19 games on at home and 10 games on the road, which means going forward, they will play 9 more games on the road than they play at home.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't look that great.
So there's potential for disaster.
But the thing is, why have they been so bad on the road? Do you think it's just happenstance? Like those are the games they lost. It's not like you just like sample size. Like it's a small sample over the course of a regular season. They'll probably be a little bit worse on the road, but they're not going to be this bad.
I think it's a team that hasn't. I mean, there's still a lot of new pieces. They haven't really figured each other out yet. When they don't have the home court rallying behind them, maybe they, get rattled easier.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a weird. The home court definitely helps, but I always wonder, like you should be you shouldn't be that much worse on the road.
I mean, I remember the Nuggets when they had Mutombo were like that. They were like ridiculously bad on the road.
Well, you know the Nuggets story though, because it's Denver with the thin air.
Yeah.
They run teams to death in Denver, and like everyone has trouble catching their breath when they're playing the Nuggets because they're in Denver. It's a mile high, so they have this advantage because they always practice there.
Yeah,
which the other teams don't have. And then you leave Denver, and suddenly you're on the road, you find that the team's just not that good.
Right.
It was like the Colorado Rockies when they played home in baseball. They're hitting all these home runs. You're like, wow, they're such a good hitting team. Yeah, because they're playing in Colorado, and they leave Colorado, suddenly they're like a pretty average team as far as hitting.
I don't see how that even translates.
It's both involving Denver. Shut the hell up. Watch baseball every once in a while.
But we're like, the air is thinner, so they're able to hit the ball farther.
Yeah, that's how it translates in baseball. The air is thinner, you're able to hit the ball farther.
But only that.
Baseball.
Because the other team isn't used to hitting the ball farther.
That's a good point. Well, they're not actually. So the Rockies aren't especially good at home. They say they lose just as much as home as they do on the road. It's just that the players look amazing. Like you have these guys who hit like 380 at home and 230 on the road. That's what and then they get like signed to these big deals elsewhere, and the other teams are like, oh wait, this guy just sucks. Whatever. Okay. Fine. Sorry I brought up baseball.
It's a great story though.
Oh, screw yourself. So going forward, I think it's so the next 10 games they have 1, 2. Okay, I think like 7 of the next 10 are on the road. Is that right?
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun week.
Yeah, 7 of the next games, 10 games are on the road, including Charlotte and Detroit, then Chicago. They have to beat Chicago on the road. San Antonio, and stuff gets a little harder going forward. I guess when we talk about path forward, let's just get through the season, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough stretch. So what we learned today is that it's fun when the Knicks win basketball games,
It
even
sure
if we
is.
don't know how to win the title from here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. If this is as good as it gets, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not gonna be fine with that like years from now, but right
No,
now I'm fine with
no, just this year.
that. We also learned that we don't know the path forward, and people are concerned about that, and even talking about tanking still because we don't know what to do, how to get forward.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to add, Jay?
No, I think that's it. So,
Should we have this Bella Hadid on the next show?
Sure.
Okay. She can show up at your apartment. We'll just tell her she can. Do you want to do the show from your place, or you want to call in?
It's up to her. I mean, if she wants to come over, she can do that too.
Okay, cool.
Also, when we're trying to get people on the show, and we say, hey, why don't you message these guys on, Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Andrew's the only one that listens to us, so I want to thank
you,
Andrew for that.
I assume you'll do it again for us, Andrew. You'll get Bella Hadid on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely going to tag her on Twitter as soon as this goes up.
By the way, when's David Lee coming on the show?
Andrew was the only one who messaged David Lee.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
outcrying of support.
Yeah, that huge outcry of just Andrew. I don't think we're going to be having David Lee on anytime soon.
David Lee, there's still a spot for you. David Lee, though, in fairness, David Lee wants to be on the show. He's got to be able to help us with technical issues.
That is true. Hey, David Lee, I know only one person asked you to come on the show, but you should still totally be our co-host.
Yes, David Lee, co-host. Though you're not gonna be the star of the show.
Right. You'll get third billing, but you can work your way up if you really try.
Remember, David Lee, I speak most of the show. You have to shut the hell up sometimes, David. Okay, I think we're out.
Yes, we are out. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back next week.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to play the goodbye song, which you can't hear because technical issues.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. Time to go. This is the end.